Matter of weeks, if the blockade continues and it continues to wear down the Iranian economy, shutting off its domestic production, its exports, its imports, the regime will be facing a two-front war. Its domestic population can't continue living the way they've been living, the currency devaluing on a daily basis, their ability to basically live their lives diminishing on a daily basis. Meanwhile, the regime is trying to sort of fend that off, and they're executing people who were caught using Starlink receivers, to send a message, basically to strike fear into the hearts of civilians. This is not sustainable. The U.S. is not facing that kind of pressure. Yes, there's electoral pressure, but it's not the same.
So, then what about Iran, though? We see that they are putting out messages. They use the word quagmire, which seems to be a reference to Vietnam, right?
To Vietnam, to the Iraq War, the idea that this president has committed the United States to a long-term conflict of which the outcome is unclear, but whatever the outcome is, it'll be at great cost to the United States in terms of lives and in terms of money and resources. And that's what they're trying to tap into the public sentiment that this is a bad decision that this president made.
Yet you still say U.S. has the cards. So if they have the cards, what's the next card that the U.S. plays?
So it's continuing to keep the blockade up. Iran will suffer under this blockade. Its domestic oil production will suffer. Its import and export markets will suffer. And yes, everyone else is going to suffer with it. The argument here is that Iran suffers disproportionately, given how little resource and options it has to go beyond and through the Strait of Hormuz. And in this case, then the United States can it's like a hunger strike. The U.S. has got larger reserves, larger fat reserves. They can actually sit this out for longer than Iran can before Iran starts facing domestic pressure. We haven't seen that yet.
So what's a deal that the U.S. could get behind with Iran?
A deal would be on at least two of the 3 points. The 3 points were end the nuclear program, end the ballistic missile program, and support for proxy groups. If the United States can reach a deal on 2 out of those 3, it'll arguably be better than the Iran deal of 2015 that President Trump hated so much. And I think that's something that they can float to the Iranians and say, look, will you meet us on these 2 issues? But that's unlikely because they're dug into their position as well. For them, it's existential.
So then, how do you get to some sort of compromise? It seems like the nuclear thing would have to be. That seems like that's where President Trump is going all in on that point, right?
That is a big one, but Iran has maintained they reserve the right to enrich uranium at some point. They're not going to give that up in perpetuity. They consider that to be a right of the country under the United Nations and the IAEA. They simply are not going to give that up without declaring loss, failure.
And so lastly, what happens next?
The blockade continues, and we see if Iran will continue to fire on vessels, merchant vessels, on maybe U.S. naval vessels. Let's see if he escalates or they escalate to that level. That's what we'll be looking for. And then also the domestic situation. Is there going to be unrest popping up more so?
Benjamin Radd, the best at explaining the situation. We always appreciate you coming to see us. Thank you so much. An investigation is now underway into a very close call.